Hey cat mums and cat dads! Welcome back to the channel where we try to decode the tiny, furry aliens living in our homes. Let's talk about a classic cat owner scenario. You buy the finest, most expensive salmon and quail pâté that costs more per ounce than your own lunch. You present it to His Majesty on a clean dish. He sniffs it, looks at you with utter disgust, and walks away to lick a plastic bag. You think, he's just being a jerk, right? Or he's broken. We've all been there. We assume it's just another episode of My Cat is a Picky Tyrant. But what if I told you that this behaviour, the sudden food snobbery, isn't about him hating you or your taste in gourmet cat food? What if it's a silent, desperate signal that he's in agony? Today, we're uncovering the 5 biggest mistakes we make when our cats stop eating, all centred around a horribly painful condition called stomatitis. Stick around because understanding this could change your cat's life. And before we dive in, drop the name of your furry food critic in the comments below. Mine's named Captain Fluffbutt, and his reviews are harsh. So before we get into the mistakes, let's have a little chat about cat biology. Why are they so secretive? It all goes back to their wild ancestors. Out on the savannah, if a wild cat showed any sign of weakness, a limp, a wound, or pain, they'd instantly become a flashing neon sign for bigger predators that says, "Easy lunch here." So, evolution hardwired them to be masters of disguise. They hide their pain as a survival mechanism. Your cosy little house cat, whose biggest predator is the vacuum cleaner, still has that ancient software running. They're programmed to suffer in silence. This is why we, their loyal human staff, have to become super sleuths. They won't just come up to us and say, "Excuse me, servant, my mouth feels like it's on fire." Instead, they give us tiny, weird clues that are so easy to misinterpret, and that's where the mistakes begin. Let's dive into the first, and possibly most common, mistake we all make. Alright, let's kick off with the first major section, the problem you can't see. So what in the world is this stomatitis thing anyway? The fancy veterinary term is feline chronic gingivostomatitis. Sounds boring and complicated, right? Let's translate that from science speak to cat parent speak. It basically means your cat's own immune system has declared war on its mouth. It overreacts to the normal plaque on the teeth and causes massive, widespread, and incredibly painful inflammation of the gums and the back of the throat. Imagine the worst canker sore you've ever had, but it's covering your entire mouth, and it never goes away. That is what these poor kitties are dealing with every single second of every single day. It makes chewing, swallowing, and even drinking water an exercise in agony. It's not just a little toothache, it's a full-blown crisis happening inside that little purring face, and it's our job to spot the signs of this hidden battle. Now, why do we call it the silent pain? I mean, cats are loud. They scream for food at 3 a.m. They yowl at a closed door like it's a personal insult. They are the undisputed drama queens of the animal kingdom. But when it comes to real chronic pain, they go into stealth mode. It's that ancient predator programming kicking in again. Showing weakness is dangerous. So instead of meowing in pain, they just change. They become a little more withdrawn, a little more grumpy. They stop doing things they used to love. This silence is the most dangerous part of stomatitis. Because it's so quiet, it can go on for months or even years, with the owner having no idea their beloved fur ball is in constant severe pain. They just think their cat is getting older or moodier. They don't realise their pet is fighting a hidden war every time it even thinks about its food bowl. It's a tragedy hidden in plain sight, masked by a purr and a seemingly calm demeanour. So let's talk about mistake number 1, ignoring the minor stuff. I'm talking about the little things you might notice and just brush off as a weird cat quirk. The first big one is drooling. You might see a little bit of drool on their chin or on their favourite blanket and think, "Oh, he's so relaxed he's drooling." But unless your cat has always been a drooler, new or increased drooling is a massive red flag. Often this drool will be thick, and sometimes it might even be tinged with blood. The cat isn't drooling because it's happy. It's drooling because it hurts too much to swallow its own saliva. It's a classic sign that something is terribly wrong inside their mouth. Think of it as a leak in the system. If you see it, don't just wipe it away and forget about it. It's one of the earliest and most direct messages your cat is sending you, written in the language of slobber. Pay attention to the damp spots on the furniture. Continuing with mistake number 1, let's talk about a sense we often neglect: smell. Specifically, your cat's breath. We all know that cat breath isn't exactly a field of daisies. It's normal for it to smell a bit like, well, cat food, but there is a huge difference between normal cat breath and the smell of disease. The breath of a cat with severe stomatitis is on another level. Vets call it halitosis, but you'll call it what died in there. It's a pungent, foul, often metallic or rotten odour that you can smell from across the room. This isn't just because they ate tuna. This smell is caused by the bacterial infection and dying tissue in their inflamed mouth. If you lean in for a cuddle and get a whiff of something that makes your eyes water, don't just write it off as bad breath. That smell is the scent of pain. It's a blaring alarm bell telling you that a serious fire is raging inside your cat's mouth. This leads us directly to mistake number 2, blaming pickiness. This is the big one. Your cat, who used to inhale their food, suddenly starts acting like a world-renowned food critic. They approach the bowl, sniff it, maybe take one hesitant bite, and then walk away. Or maybe they seem hungry, meowing and circling your legs, but when you put the food down, they just stare at it sadly. Your first thought is, ugh, he's decided he hates chicken flavour this week. Time to go buy 15 different cans of food. You assume it's a battle of wills, but watch closer. A cat in pain might not be rejecting the food itself. They might be rejecting the act of eating. They are hungry, they want to eat, but they know that the second that food touches their mouth, it's going to trigger a wave of agony. This hesitation and seeming indecisiveness at the food bowl is often mistaken for picky behaviour, but it's actually a heartbreaking internal conflict between hunger and pain. Let's dig deeper into this picky eater myth. Observe how your cat tries to eat. A healthy cat just dives in. A cat with stomatitis develops some very strange eating habits. You might see them tilting their head to one side, trying to chew only on the less painful area of their mouth. You might see them pick up a piece of kibble and then immediately drop it, sometimes crying out softly. This is often misinterpreted as them playing with their food. They aren't playing. They are trying and failing to find a way to eat without it hurting. They might also start preferring wet food over dry food because it requires less chewing, but even with wet food you might see them just licking the gravy off and leaving the solid chunks behind. These aren't the actions of a food snob. These are the desperate manoeuvres of an animal trying to navigate a minefield of pain just to get some basic nutrition. It's a puzzle of survival. Another subtle sign that gets bundled into the picky eater mistake is a messy eating area. Suddenly there's food scattered all around the bowl. You might get annoyed thinking your cat has become a slob, but this mess is often a byproduct of their pain. When they try to chew, the sharp pain can cause them to reflexively spit out the food. They drop kibble because they can't maintain a proper grip with their inflamed mouth. They might even paw at their face or mouth right after trying to eat. Think about it. When you have a toothache, you eat very carefully and awkwardly, right? They are doing the same thing. So next time you see a disaster zone around the food bowl, don't just grab the broom and grumble. Pause and consider why it's happening. The mess isn't an act of rebellion. It's collateral damage from their daily battle with pain. The food bowl becomes a crime scene, and the clues are right there in the spatter pattern. Okay, let's move on to mistake number 3, missing the grooming clues. Cats are famously fastidious creatures. They spend like half their waking hours licking themselves, making sure every hair is perfectly in place. They are the supermodels of the pet world. So, when a cat starts looking unkempt, it is a huge deal. You might notice their fur looks greasy, spiky, or matted, especially around their back and hindquarters. Your first thought might be, wow, he's getting lazy in his old age. But it's not laziness. Grooming requires a lot of flexibility, but more importantly, it involves using their mouth. If their mouth is in agony, the last thing they want to do is use it for hours of meticulous fur licking. The pain simply outweighs their instinct to be clean. An unkempt coat on a cat is like a human showing up to work in pyjamas for a week straight. It's a clear sign that something is fundamentally wrong. The grooming issue gets even more specific. Pay close attention to their face and front paws. A healthy cat keeps their face impeccably clean. A cat with stomatitis often can't. It hurts too much to bring their paws to their mouth to groom. So you might see old food crusted around their mouth. Their chin fur might be stained and damp from drool. Their front paws, which they normally use as little washcloths, might also be dirty. They simply stop the full grooming ritual because a key part of the process, the mouth, is out of commission. It's a heartbreaking sign of how all-encompassing this pain is. It doesn't just affect eating, it robs them of one of their most basic, instinctual comforts. Seeing a once pristine cat become scruffy isn't a sign of laziness, it's a sign of surrender to their pain. Their grooming habits are a direct window into their physical well-being. Don't ignore a dirty window. And there's one more piece to the grooming puzzle: over-grooming, or what looks like it. Sometimes a cat in pain will redirect that feeling. You might see them pawing aggressively at their mouth or face, as if trying to scratch the pain away. This can be mistaken for a weird itch or just an odd habit, but they are trying to physically address the source of their discomfort. This can lead to scratches on their face or patches of missing fur around their mouth and chin. So you have two extremes: a cat who stops grooming altogether, and a cat who obsessively paws at their face. Both are huge signs that something is wrong. It's their only way of saying, "It's right here, this spot. It hurts." We just have to learn to interpret their frantic, non-verbal signals. Their grooming, or lack thereof, tells a detailed story. We just have to be willing to read it. Now for mistake number 4, misreading their mood. This one is tricky, because let's be honest, cats can be naturally grumpy little hermits. But there's a difference between a cat's baseline personality and a personality change caused by pain. A cat suffering from stomatitis might become withdrawn and reclusive. The cat that used to love sleeping on your lap might now prefer to hide under the bed or in a closet. This isn't because they suddenly hate you. It's because when you're in constant nagging pain, your social battery drains to zero. All you want is to be left alone in a dark, quiet place. They are trying to retreat from the world because everything feels like too much effort. They are conserving all their energy just to cope with the pain. So if your social butterfly suddenly becomes a hermit, don't take it personally. Take it as a serious sign that something is wrong. Another aspect of this mood change is sudden aggression or irritability. Your super sweet, cuddly cat might suddenly hiss or swat at you when you try to pet them, especially around their head. You might reach out to stroke their cheek, and they react as if you've touched a hot stove. Again, it's easy to think, wow, what's his problem today? But his problem is that his face hurts. He's anticipating that your touch, even a gentle one, might cause a jolt of pain. This defensiveness is a protective mechanism. He's not trying to be mean. He's trying to guard himself from more hurt. Think about how irritable you get when you have a bad headache or a migraine. You don't want anyone touching you or even talking to you. It's the same principle. A sudden change from sweet to spicy is a major clue that shouldn't be ignored. He's not mad at you, he's mad at the pain. Let's also consider the opposite reaction: lethargy. Your cat might just seem dull. They sleep more than usual, which is saying a lot for a cat. They stop playing with their favourite feather wand. The 3 a.m. zoomies have completely ceased. You might just assume they're mellowing out with age, but chronic pain is exhausting. It's physically and mentally draining to be in a state of constant discomfort. This deep fatigue can be easily mistaken for simple laziness or aging. They don't have the energy to play or engage because their body is using all its resources to fight the inflammation in their mouth. A loss of interest in play, exploration, and other favourite activities is a profound signal. Joy and pain can't easily coexist. If the joy seems to have vanished from your cat's life, pain might be the reason why. It's a quiet but powerful cry for help. And now we come to the final and most critical error. Mistake number 5. Fearing the vet. This is a big one. You've noticed some of these signs, and a little voice in the back of your head is telling you something is wrong, but then other voices pop up. It's probably nothing. A vet visit is so expensive. He gets so stressed out in the carrier. And so you wait. You decide to wait and see. This is, without a doubt, the most dangerous mistake of all. Stomatitis is not a wait-and-see condition. It doesn't get better on its own. It only gets progressively worse. Every day you wait is another day your cat is forced to endure excruciating pain. Delaying that vet visit, out of fear of the cost or the stress, is inadvertently prolonging your pet's suffering. The temporary stress of a car ride is nothing compared to the chronic, daily agony of a mouth on fire. Taking action is the most compassionate thing you can do. So what happens when you finally go to the vet? You need to be prepared. To get a good look at what's going on, the vet will likely need to sedate your cat. Don't panic. This is normal and necessary. You can't ask a cat to open wide and say, "Ah," especially when their mouth is in agony. Under sedation, the vet can perform a thorough oral exam, checking the teeth, gums and back of the throat for the telltale signs of severe inflammation. They'll likely take dental x-rays to see what's happening below the gum line. This is a crucial step to rule out other causes of mouth pain, like broken teeth or abscesses. They might also run blood work to check for underlying viral causes and assess your cat's overall health. Yes, it can be a scary and potentially expensive process, but it's the only way to get a definitive diagnosis and create a plan to finally end your cat's silent suffering. It's the first step on the road to recovery. Okay, so you've avoided the mistakes, you've gone to the vet, and you have a diagnosis. Now what? Let's talk about the path to a happy cat. The good news is, this condition is treatable. It's not a death sentence. The treatment plan will vary depending on the severity of the case. For some cats, a combination of rigorous dental hygiene, special diets, and medications like steroids or pain relievers can help manage the inflammation. The goal is to calm down the immune system's insane overreaction. This approach requires a lot of dedication from the owner, including potentially having to give your cat pills, which we all know can be like trying to disarm a tiny furry bomb. But for many cats, these management strategies can provide significant relief and improve their quality of life. There are options, and there is hope. Your vet will be your partner in figuring out the best path forward. Now, we have to talk about the more drastic but often most effective treatment. For many cats with severe stomatitis, the best, and often only, long-term solution is tooth extraction. I know that sounds terrifying. Your first thought is, "My poor baby, how will he eat with no teeth?" But here's the crucial thing to understand. For these cats, their teeth are the enemy. The teeth are the surface where plaque builds up, which is what triggers the immune system's violent reaction. By removing the teeth, you remove the trigger. It's like taking the batteries out of the smoke alarm that won't stop screaming. It solves the root of the problem. You're not taking away their ability to eat. You're taking away their source of pain. And you would be absolutely amazed at how well cats adapt to having few or no teeth. They can eat wet food and even some kibble with no problem at all. Let's talk about life after extraction. The transformation in these cats is often nothing short of miraculous. Owners will report that a few weeks after the surgery, they have their old cat back, or an even better version. The grumpy, withdrawn cat is suddenly playful and affectionate again. The cat, who hadn't groomed itself properly in years, is suddenly pristine. They dive into their food bowl with a passion you haven't seen in forever. Why? Because for the first time in a very long time, they are not in pain. The relief is so profound that it changes their entire personality. They become happy, social, and vibrant little creatures again. Seeing a gummy cat happily munching on its food, purring on your lap, and chasing toys is one of an owner's greatest rewards. It's a powerful reminder that we made the right, albeit difficult choice to finally end their silent suffering and give them their life back. The journey with stomatitis is a powerful lesson in pet ownership. It teaches us to look beyond the obvious. It forces us to become fluent in the subtle, silent language of our feline companions. We learn that a change in behaviour is rarely just because it's a communication, a piece of data that we need to investigate. It's about trusting that little gut feeling that tells you something isn't right, even if the cat looks fine. Being a cat parent isn't just about providing food and cuddles. It's about being their advocate, their detective, and their voice when they can't speak for themselves. Recognizing the signs of silent pain is one of the most profound acts of love we can offer them. It's about paying attention, asking the right questions, and having the courage to take action to ensure they live the comfortable, pain-free life they so deeply deserve. Their well-being is literally in our hands. So, to wrap this all up, what have we learned today? We've learned that our cats are masters of hiding their pain, a skill inherited from their wild ancestors. We've learned that a condition like stomatitis can cause unimaginable suffering right under our noses. And most importantly, we've learned to stop making common mistakes. We will no longer dismiss drooling or bad breath. We will no longer assume our cat is just being a picky eater. We'll pay attention to their grooming habits and their moods, and we will not delay a vet visit when we suspect something is wrong. By becoming more observant and informed, we can catch these problems early and spare our beloved pets from needless suffering. You are now equipped with the knowledge to be a true health detective for your cat. You are their first and best line of defense against the silent pain they are so good at hiding from the world. So there you have it. The secret is out. Now you know that what looks like your cat being a diva about their dinner could actually be a desperate cry for help. It's a heavy topic, I know, but knowledge is power. And now you have the power to see what others might miss. Remember, despite all their weird quirks, their 3 a.m. sumis, and their baffling logic, we adore these little fluff balls. The greatest gift we can give them in return for all their purrs and headbutts is a life free from pain. Thank you so much for watching and for being an amazing cat parent. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more cat decoding secrets, and share it with another cat lover. You might just help save a life. And for my final question, have you ever had a health scare with your cat where they were hiding their symptoms? Share your story in the comments below. Let's support each other. Until next time, give your kitty an extra chin scratch from me.